Welcome to the For the Love of the Game podcast with your hosts, Jefferson Belfort, Brian Hernandez, and our special guest, Claude Pierre-Val. I don't know if I should have said the last name or not, but I put it in there.
It don't matter.
Yeah, for sure. How you doing, Claude? How you doing today?
I'm Gucci, you know what I mean? The sun is out. I'm chilling. You know what I mean? I can't complain about nothing, you know? Everything good.
Hey, I like it. I like it. How about you,
All right.
Jeff?
I'm pretty good, happy with the way the summer's going. Now we're heading into more of this off season. Summer league starting. Can't complain.
Yeah, I definitely will say my enthusiasm for Summer League has probably been a little bit lower than normal, just being as a Knicks fan that didn't even have a first round pick this year. Feels pretty bad not being able to get excited to see a rookie or whatever, but still, second year players and all that. It's a good time, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. What are the topics we got today for Jeff?
Perfect. Yep. So some of the topics that we have for today are some of our winners and losers for free agency. Then we'll hit summer league, some of the standout performers, and then we'll do a team spotlight on the Toronto Raptors with our subject matter specialist Claude on that conversation, and then we'll close it out with a weekly roundup. Guys, ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, perfect. So we're about 2 weeks, about a week actually, a week and change into free agency. There's been some interesting scenarios that played out in free agency, but due to that, obviously, it's time to pick some winners and losers. Which one of you guys want to start with some of your winners in this situation?
I'll say, yo, Claude, do a winner first. Give us a winner you got.
So, like, my winner is a winner and a loser at the same time.
Okay,
So, like,
okay.
it's Bradley
There you
Bill.
go.
It's
Oh
Bradley Bill, yeah.
no, I didn't.
And, like, the reason why I say he a winner, my man went to the bag, you know what I mean? Like, he had a goal in his head to get that cash, and he got it. Like, you can't be mad at that. But the reason why I also think he's a loser, like you just took a bag literally to stay on a losing team. Like that team is really not going nowhere. So like if his aspiration is literally just to get the bag, then that's cool. But if it's like you want to win a ring and stuff like that, that was a bad choice to me. Like in my opinion, that's a bad choice. That's why.
Yeah, no. Last week we spoke about that. We were saying he's this generation's, or at least I said this. He's this generation's Carmelo Anthony. He's going for the money, and there's nothing wrong if that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
but just know that it's not gonna predicate in winning.
Yeah.
At least from what we see, we don't know if the Wizards do something surprising. Because think about it, last year they did have a quick start that looked
Yeah.
pretty good, and then they kind of just disappeared.
Yeah. They came back to earth, right? We knew what they were. We said it before too. Like they were gonna come back down to earth. We said that. Like I remember that.
Yeah, we actually that's actually really funny. We did call that one.
Yeah.
The the Wizards are or Bradley Beal just it's unfortunate that we're gonna see his entire career just be on the Washington Wizards because he got a no trade clause. One of the only players in the NBA that has it right now, or the only player that has it right now, and like he's not going anywhere. This is like it's it's just so unfortunate. I mean, he's gonna play with Porzingis, who's always injured, and the rest of the
Yeah.
team. They're really not gonna do a whole lot. Um,
No.
I don't know. Do you guys see Bradley Beal as a number one option on a championship team?
Nah.
I thought
Nah.
I thought you were gonna say playoff team
Nah,
because like it's even you could even question that. Like you could question that at this
yeah.
point in his career. Like, is he even enough to be a consistent playoff team's number one player? And I don't even think he's that. I feel bad to say it like that, You know, and obviously, the guy plays his heart out, but I just don't think that's who he is or what his game gives way to.
So, all right. So you guys both agreed, not a number one option. Is he a number two option? Number three? Like, what is he in your eyes?
He could,
It's
yeah,
interesting.
he could be a number
Yeah, you
two.
go, Claude.
He could be a number two. I could see him being a Robin for somebody, but I feel like I really can't give him number one, even though like right now he's the number one option on his team, and I, I could barely see him even like. I feel like he a number one option for a playing team. Like that's what he is to
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean? But like other than that, like I could see him playing second fiddle to somebody else. Like I honestly I thought like he'll test free agency and see like what's up with the Lakers or something like that. You know what I mean? But again, he chose to get to that bag. So
Yeah,
that's all.
you can't hate on that. So
Yeah.
it's you know, you got to do what you got to do for your family and everything. I guess for the game though, you would like to see a different outcome. What do you think about Jeff about the first or the second or third option?
Feel like we already saw him be a second option, and it wasn't enough. You know, with him and John Wall. So I think even that, like, it proves that he can't even be a second option. Um, he needs to be in a situation where there's a stacked team, so to speak. And when I say stacked team, I don't mean like a big three or something. Like he just needs to be. Like I said, I said it before the season ended in a few podcasts. Is that I said that he's a better fit for Miami in my mind than Donovan Mitchell would be, for helping them out in the long term. But clearly, that's not what's in mind for him. He just wants to be a wizard for life.
So, I guess that's enough on Bradley Beal and all that. Jeff, who do you have as a free agency winner?
So it's an individual. That is the obvious one. I'm sure you may have also written this one down, Brian. Jalen Brunson. He's clearly a winner in this situation. He got everything he wanted. He has his dad as his assistant coach. He has a scenario where he's going to be asked to be a star, which he wasn't really. He was allowed to play a big role on the Mavs, but he wasn't relegated as a star when he was on the Mavs. But now the Knicks are asking for him to be a star. He's coming off of one of his best seasons in his career, having averaging around 16 points per game, 5 assists, 4 rebounds on a 50-37 and 84 splits. You know, like the guy is primed or is ready to take his game to the next level, and an opportunity to take it to the next level on this Knicks team. Where does it go? We don't know, but he got his money and he's now able to try it out and see if he can become a star in this game.
Yeah, the Jalen. So I like this distinction here of like not necessarily the Knicks are winner because I actually didn't have like Jalen Brunson or the Knicks on my list just because of the Knicks. Like you're saying, it's really two to be determined right now. We don't know how well this is going to work out. In theory, this is what the guy that they wanted to get. They got him. Awesome. Jalen Brunson, on the other hand, the Mavericks had the option to sign him last season for I think like a 4-year, like $55 million contract or extension. They denied that, and now it ended up that you lose him for nothing, and this man gets so much money, and it's like, how can you lose in this situation? It's just too nice.
That's
No,
facts.
literally.
So I guess I'll transition that nicely into one of my losers was actually the Dallas Mavericks because of this situation of your second best player. You need to retain this guy. At the end of the season, Mark Cuban and all of them were saying our number one priority of this offseason is to re-sign Jalen Brunson. They said we're going to give him whatever money he wants. And then at the end of the day, the reports Is it true or not? Who knows? The reports were essentially like they're offering like a less than 25 mil a year. They're looking like at 23 mil or something like that. Essentially like what similar to, I believe, what Fran Van Vliet has. That's the number they were trying to give him. Knicks went a little just slightly higher, and yet they decided to do nothing. It looks like it's not going to be a sign and trade, just by reports that recently came out like yesterday, that it's just going to be Knicks are going to straight up take him into cap space. I think this is pretty terrible for the Mavericks to get zero assets in return. Just big mistake all around.
Yeah, they haven't. I agree because they haven't made any movement or enough movement in this offseason to even prepare for the contingency of this happening. And it seems like now they're going to cry over spilt milk and try to see if the NBA is going to do anything about some draft picks for the Knicks. But how does that help them? It doesn't really help them at all, you know? So I it puts them in a weird situation, but I knew when the season came to an end and when they acquired Spencer Dinwiddie, there was going to be a time where we had to answer this question: who's going to go? Is it going to be Spencer or is it going to be Jalen Brunson? And obviously, as much as they didn't want him to go, they realized they didn't even have a choice. Like, you know, they didn't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah, that's facts.
So let's go with your first loser. Actually, you had a winner and a loser last time, but still, let's go with the loser. Claude, who you got?
So I'm gonna go with Miles, fumble the bag Bridges. You know, like everybody know what he did. So it's just like what he did was like super wrong too. It's just like, bro, you like one, you should never put your hands on a female and stuff like that. But two, like you know who you are. Like you know you're an NBA player. You know that you're in the limelight and stuff like that. You know certain actions will cause more detriment to you than regular people. So the fact that like he did that, he did that in front of his son and stuff like that. It's just that is just a whole mess. Like that's why he's really like the one of the biggest losers of free agency.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Jeff, please go.
I agree. I think like you mentioned, and not to go too personal with it, but like you said, everybody already knows the situation. Is that, you know, you potentially this is your career, so you potentially leverage your career for something as this, like doing stooping to a level like this, when you know you're held to a higher level, or to as a role model, so to speak, to people. So it's kind of sad more than losing being a loser to me, because he's effectively ended his future, and it's going to be hard for him if he ever even gets an opportunity to come back. But it's just, this is kind of one of those things you can't come back from. It seems like a Ray Rice like situation.
Yeah.
Even before this whole situation came out and everything, it was already getting pretty dicey with him posting pictures of him with a purple drink and everything,
Yeah.
and just there's constant stuff, and
I mean,
people were just yeah.
You mean the pink lemonade?
Yeah, exactly. Like he's doing all these things. It's he's trying to do like his rap career and everything. It definitely seemed like he lost a lot of focus just on basketball. So even before all that, he was becoming a loser, and it was like, do we actually pay this guy max money? Now it's completely gone. Definitely, let down everybody, not even like the team and all that, like his family, and it's an entire mess. Definitely, I don't want to see him playing basketball right anytime soon. So I think we'll leave it as that. Jeff, who do you got as your first loser?
So this is a team now, and I think it's too soon to say 100% that they are, but if things go the way that I think it will, in the long term, they will eventually become a loser. Actually, there's two teams that I think about like that, but I'm just gonna say one is the Minnesota Timberwolves are a team that has mortgaged their future or a very talented guy. So it makes sense. They go after Rudy Gobert to move Cat down into that four spot and allow Rudy to be that defensive anchor that he was when he was on Utah. But I see there's a world where this doesn't work, or this big three is not as impressive as it looks like on paper. And if that's the case, how long is it before they start rethinking their situation and saying like, "Hey, we got to move one of these pieces, or we this is not going anywhere," you know? And in that case, then Utah, Danny Ainge did his Danny Ainge stuff again and fleece some picks out of somebody. So like, but like, only time will tell. But right now, they look like a loser, even though they got a good player in the situation.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, they definitely gave up too much, and it's like everyone's kind of been saying this of like who are they bidding against? Like who is Minnesota bidding against for Rudy? Like no one, and it's they gave up an insane amount for an overpriced center already, like an overpaid center. Um, I mean, there's it's kind of no shade to like Rudy, and I think Rudy's like an amazing. I'm probably one of the biggest Rudy fans, and I think he's so impactful on the floor. I would love to see it actually translate to the rest of the NBA. I mean, for the playoffs and everything. Um, I don't think it's terrible in the sense of, I guess it seems like certain teams are just shooting for different levels. Are the Timberwolves actually shooting for a championship? In my eyes, not necessarily. They're more shooting to be respectable, and maybe similar to what the Mavericks did like this year. Like if they can hit the conference finals, I'm sure they would be ecstatic, and like that's about it. Um, but we'll see how that actually ends up turning up and everything. I don't mind it. I don't think it's terrible. Um, I say let's go back to Claude for your second winner of free agency.
So I'm gonna say Kessler Edwards. Cause
Winners,
oh yeah, he a
winner.
winner. Yeah, cause
Okay.
honestly, he didn't do nothing for me like last year, and the fact that they gave him another chance, I feel like that's good for him. You know, like what he averaged like what 5 points, 3 rebounds, and like 0 assists, and they gave him another bag to give him another chance to show what he actually could do. And I feel like if KD actually does leave and like Kyrie leave, I feel like it gives him more potential to like show it that what he possibly could do and just let him shine a little bit more.
Very low
Perfect.
key one. I would never have thought that we'd be talking about Kessler Edwards in this, but honestly, I kind of was shocked actually seeing a lot of NBA Twitter talking about the Nets re-signing Kessler Edwards, and think he does. He is a guy that has potential to be like a role player type in this league. I loved his type of intensity that he plays with. That's a big part of his game. But the real thing is if he can ever harness the skill of shooting it effectively, you have a you have a 3 and D player,
Yeah.
and that's why I think the Nets didn't give up on a player like that because it's not easy to come across guys like that. Think
Mhm.
about like a guy like Joe Harris who was paid a premium because he could shoot. Now think about what Kessler Edwards would be if he figured out to shoot because he already has the defensive side. of his game pretty good, right? So those type of guys always typically find a way to get some money in the open market. So definitely, I guess it's like a smidge of a win for the Nets. But for Kessler Edwards, I agree. I guess that's good for him.
Yeah, and me being a Toronto boy, him being like 6'7", could play defense. That's what we like. You know what I mean? He got the height, he got the defense. Like we like that. If you get that shooting in there, we might actually try to trade for him. I don't know. But
Him, nah, I'm not gonna say nothing. Because you would laugh if I said it.
Oh man. So I think that's you guys touched on everything with Kessler Edwards. I don't think I need to add any more there. I guess Jeff, who you got next?
Can you get back to me?
yeah,
I want
yeah.
to hear yours first.
All right.
Before-
I'm gonna go with my winner as the Philadelphia 76ers because they had a couple, things to do for this offseason. One, and most importantly, you traded for James Harden, didn't look very nice and everything, but you have to re-sign him and everything. He opted out to sign a more shorter term deal, and it's not official yet, but the numbers that we're getting, and it seems like it's gonna be anytime soon. It's more of a team friendly 2-year deal, so you're not gonna have him for when he's super old and everything, but still a little more team friendly, give you a little more flexibility and all that stuff. With James Harden I think it's the number is 2 years, 68 million. So it's about like 33 the first year and 35 the second year. Not bad. I think for what you can get out of this for James Harden, I kind of like it. You didn't want to lock yourself into him for too long, and it's definitely not a like Kevin Durant situation where like you're happy just to get this guy for another 4 years, but you get James Harden. We'll see what happens. If he continues to regress, you're not paying him too much, and if he's living up to expectations or surpassing your expectations, cool. Give him the bag. Like I think it's a win-win it's a huge win for Philadelphia. And then aside from that, you get a pretty nice like championship caliber guy in PJ Tucker. You need that defense there, and then you traded for D'Anthony Melton, who was like pretty huge for the Grizzlies last year. You signed Daniel House, like a lot of really solid signings. In my opinion, it kind of repairs a lot of the damage that when they traded away Ben Simmons and all that, where they gave up what I believe was like really nice of like Seth Curry and all those guys. That was really helpful for them that year. They kind of replenished a lot of the stuff that I feel like they needed. So I have to have the 76ers as winner.
I would question some of that though, because like I like it in the aspect of them coming to terms with I think it's more of Harden came to terms with understanding what his value is in the market right now, and understanding he doesn't want to live in the same peril that Westbrook is living in right now, where you could see that you're regressing and you're getting paid exuberant amounts of money that's affecting your team's cap and making it hard for them to make any changes. So what other way do you kind of save face than restructure your deal to one that's more friendly to your team? Because if he was playing like how he finished off the year with the Nets in that first season he was there, I don't think that he would, and he was on the Sixers, I don't think he would have said, give me less money. Like, I think he would have took the money. He just realized I'm not looking great. Or either they convinced him, like, we love you. They're Daryl Morey, I'm saying. Said, I love you. I paid you well over what you were expected to have in the early part of your career. So this is the time where you repay me that good favor that I gave you in your career. So I think that's probably what they worked out between them, and that's how that worked. But ultimately, it's going to help them with getting better players. The part where I pull back a little bit is that I think that it still doesn't address some of the issues where they were having with size. They still need an effective big to back up Joel Embiid, and then they also need more shooting. PJ Tucker's not shooting. We all know this. He's not adding to that.
He's all right.
Melton is though, but Melton is. But do I expect him to live up into that spot up shooter role? I don't know. I've seen his game. I like his game. I know there's been games where when Ja was down and he helped out with that team a lot, but maybe he takes it to another level on the Sixers. But based off of what I'm seeing, I ultimately don't see that it's that much of a change that has happened. But I agree it's a win because you were able to meet eye to eye with your star and help do something to help grow the depth on the team. And that's where I'll say I like the fact is that they added depth.
For sure. So, Jeff, are you ready for your second one now, or need a little more time?
Yeah,
I got
so
all right.
so I'm ready for my second one. My winner is gonna be and it's not even necessarily one player, it's a bunch of players. Um, Winners are the guys that got the contract extensions. We saw from from the Dame Lillards that got a 2-year, $122 million. You have Nikola Jokic that has the biggest contract in the league now because he re-signed with not re-signed, but he extended his contract with the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, we talked about Bradley Beal, Karl Towns, John Morant, Devin Booker, Zion Williamson. All of these young guys took an extra leap these last couple of years, and they're being paid handsomely for it. But on the flip side of it, the losers is the NBA salary cap because constructing a team with a guy that is going to be making nearly 1/3 of your cap is going to be so hard for you to attract the right type of depth for your team. And I just keep on saying it every week is that these are the type of things that are going to be revisited at the CBA deal next year, at the end of next year, because I just don't think that the current salary cap breakdown is an adequate one for how these salaries or contracts are growing.
Yeah.
I definitely, I mean, just to add on what you were saying about, these guys are going to be essentially like 50% of the cap for the single team. It's kind of interesting here. Like we're going to see, or we're looking at even now, free agency isn't as big of a splash it was even a couple years ago, especially when Kevin Durant and Kyrie signed with the Nets. Like that stuff is essentially almost never gonna happen, like again, because the way it's set up is you make so much more money just by staying with your team that
Yeah.
it's either always going to be a sign and trade, or like you're just trading when you have another 2 years left in your contract.
Yeah.
So it's just definitely makes it a little bit more interesting at just how when you want to actually retool your team and get a better player to match up with your star already, you have to be a little bit more flexible. And we're even seeing this now with someone like Kevin Durant, and like he's in his giant contract, and yet you have to. It's even weird now of what do you actually trade for a player like this? Like this is unprecedented that you get someone who's that good on a 4-year contract that you're trading. Like no one knows what to trade for for something like that. So we're gonna continually seeing that. Definitely, it's good for the guys though. Get that money, get that bag, do what you got to do. say, let's move on. I believe we have to do one more losers for everybody. So, Claude, who's your second loser?
So I technically got two, but I don't know if one of them count.
All right.
So like the one that I feel like don't count, I was gonna say Russia, but that's more WNBA than NBA. But I'm gonna say Ayton, DeAndre Ayton, and it's just like his team making his value go down. I know the Raptors want a big man, and they were talking about trading for him. But they saying my man's ain't got no work ethic and stuff like that. Like he don't got the motor. Like it's just they bring his stock down, and then they basically like, yo, if anybody gonna try to sign you, we're just gonna pay you anyway. Like we're not gonna give you that extension. So I just feel like he's one of the biggest losers in this thing. This whole free agency thing.
Oh yeah, I think they're doing that purposely. You always hear about always mention that usually when reports like that come out, it's because the team's done with the player.
Yeah,
And usually it's after the player gets a deal, not while the player is still currently looking for the deal that they would
yeah,
say stuff like that. So that's what makes it very interesting that they would go down this route. But it it sucks for him because I don't think that he's warranted the criticism that he's being given.
yeah,
And um, as much as people may not want to think that he's a max player, um, we all know that typically in the NBA, it takes time for bigs to actualize their potential more than a wing or like even a point guard,
yeah,
or I mean, a guard would. So he already has taken leaps in his career where he's been serviceable. He was helpful. He was an integral part of their championship run. So for
yeah,
them to like flip the script on him just because they don't want to get paid, I I I like implore a guy like Kevin Durant to look at that and go like, this is how they're treating the guy that they drafted 2, 3 years ago, and that's the
yeah,
team you want to go to. And this
yeah.
is still, and I posted this on Twitter. This is still a team that has an owner that has an open investigation that no one talks about.
That's
Like,
not. That's
like, and it's just like the things that are happening but no one talks about just makes me think like I wonder why people are so high still on believing that this team is right for Kevin Durant in that case, but even DeAndre Ayton at this point, I think he's better off somewhere else. So as much as I think he is a loser because he's not on a team yet, I think ultimately when he does find a team, if they're willing to pay him that money, he's gonna ultimately wind up becoming one of the winners because of that.
yeah. Facts. I agree with that.
It's the whole situation's so weird of you draft DeAndre in number one,
Number
and
one, yeah,
then they use, especially over Marvin Bagley now, over Luca and Trey Young and all that. Like these are the guys you drafted him over, and then you just misuse. I feel like they misuse him the entire time. They kind of use him like any other normal center, but that's kind of not really his game. And we saw what he can do, not this last playoffs, but the previous playoffs when he was extremely dominant. When they went to the finals, when the Suns went to the finals, it's crazy. Of Claude, you even mentioned of they're like trash talking him and there's
yeah,
open reports of like they feel like they can get that same production of DeAndre Ayton for way less, and it's
yeah.
why are you
Mind you.
doing this? It makes no sense. It's really weird. Definitely feel bad for him in terms of you have to draw. You're just it's a waiting game right now because you got to wait until what happens with Kevin Durant before anything happens with DeAndre Ayton. It's one of the only interesting things that I've heard of, like, because we all hear like his personality or whatever, or like his work ethic. The fact that he has what's considered one of the best coaches in the NBA and Monty Williams, the guy that just won Coach of the Year and all that. You have him as the coach, and yet and he's such a player's coach and everything. And even Hayes like trash talking DeAndre Ayton and putting, little jabs here and there. That's kind of a little bit of a red flag for me. But man, it's wild if you draft this guy number 1 and what they're gonna get in return, especially in a sign and trade, probably isn't gonna be that great. And it's pretty unfortunate, just even for the Suns in general. And DeAndre Ayton is stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Jeff, second loser. Who you got?
Oh, and a very unexpected loser right here. But, last week we had a good conversation about this team, but the defending champions, Golden State Warriors, are one of my losers. And the reason why they're one of my losers is honestly, I think there's not as much talk about how much of a loss it is to lose Gary Payton in the open market for a relatively pedestrian contract. I believe it was like 28 mil, like for 2 or 3 years. I'm not sure, but it wasn't like they broke the bank to pay Gary Payton Jr. So seeing that first, and then also losing size to losing a guy that adds size to this team, and Otto Porter Jr., which they got on a really pedestrian deal as well. To him now going to the Raptors is another big thing to me that just goes like, those are not easily replaceable players. They both were impactful in this playoff, and they were both impactful in the finals per se. So that does suck that they lost those two guys. I know they brought back Dante DiVincenzo, but Dante has a lot of weaknesses in his game, and I see it as like a lesser version of getting like Angelo Russell. When they got D'Angelo Russell, is like, yes, he can shoot, but that's about it. Like there's not really, he's not that defensively. He doesn't have the defensive prowess that a lot of the Warriors team has. So they're my losers because of that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm like in the middle of it right now. I don't actually think it's terrible. So one, of course, you lose a lot of these guys, like you mentioned, that were pretty impactful for them to even win the championship. I like that Dante DiVincenzo signing and all that. The only problem with him, in my opinion, is more of he's always hurt and he doesn't play a lot. So that's kind of the thing. And so he's definitely doesn't do the same exact things as a Gary Payton Jr., but like it's it's not terrible. What I can see this is probably for, because when you have guys like Juan Toscano Anderson and all these other guys like Damian Lee and all them, I guess this now opens up room for their rookies, or not the rookies, they're younger players. You're about to get James Wiseman back. You have Moses Moody, who's showing up in Summer League. You have Jonathan Kuminga. Like, they probably want to open up a bigger role for those guys to take over next. So that's why I can probably imagine they are doing a move like this, or letting those guys walk for essentially nothing, because like you said, they're not getting big contracts. That's probably the only thing I can think about. But yeah, it definitely is sad for them to lose all these guys that they just won a championship with. I will go to my second losers of the Los Angeles Lakers. I feel like, I don't know if other people are talking about this, but I feel like a lot of times on Twitter, I see everyone actually hyping up what the Lakers are doing. They're like, oh, wow, they signed all these really old guys last offseason. Now they're suddenly signing all these young guys. Wow, they're doing such a great job. But if you really look at these guys that they're signing, they're not great. They're not like needle movers at all. They're really like nothing of even. All right, Juan Toscano Anderson, they signed him. cool guy. I like him. He's a good player and all that, but he's not really doing much for the Lakers. You signed Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker, he got some numbers with a Spurs team that had nobody. Like, maybe there's a little bit something there, but that's not. I don't think that's what this Lakers team needs. You get Damian Jones and like you get Troy Brown Jr., who did nothing for the Bulls last season. You signed Thomas Bryant, who that's actually probably the one signing I do kind of like, but Thomas Bryant also is always injured and all that. Like, people are, I feel like, are hyping this up when there's really nothing here and kind of no substance in there, just because it's kind of like what feels like to me not salary, but roster fillers. This is, I guess, a to be determined, because if they trade for a Kyrie Irving, and we're hearing reports from Brian Windhorst saying it's more of a when, not if. See if this actually happens or not. But yeah, it's more of a to be determined. But for right now, I think it's pretty terrible.
You just brought that up, and I've been coming to terms with that and realizing, you know what, if they really want him that bad, like they should. I have no problem with Kyrie being gone at this point now, because I see it as the Lakers team, even when adding Kyrie Irving, is a non-factor. Like, it does not, like you mentioned, there's just not enough depth on that team where it's going to help. Kyrie, this might be a very hot take, but there's a world where Kyrie might be the best player on that team at what next year looks like if he's on that team, right? You have an AD that's ailing from injury. So you have a more vulnerable LeBron James, more susceptible to injury. He's gonna be 38, right? Like obviously, this is not like the NFL where you had Tom Brady and like he's not getting knocked down every game. This is LeBron James running around all game long, and playing on both sides of the ball, and doing athletic plays every moment of the game, right? That's gonna leave a lot more wear and tear on that type of body than it would ever, like, if people want to make that comparison of like Tom Brady and his longevity. But like, it realistically, there's a reason why in the NBA we haven't seen it happen. A lot of guys hold that same type of value at that later stages in their career. I think it just, what does it do? It doesn't move the needle enough for them to even beat the Warriors. Like, so you do all of this, you trade, you're just falling back into the patterns that essentially got you to this point of where you're at right now. You'll move another pick or two to the Nets. Possibly there's been talks of like unloading Russell Westbrook's contract to the Spurs. You move that contract to the Spurs, and how does that help you? You know what I mean? Like, those aren't going to be things that put you over necessarily.
I liked what you actually mentioned of like Kyrie might be their best player on like most nights, just because and it's kind of funny of, you think about it, he's probably going to be one of their most reliable players, and it's like Kyrie Irving, your most reliable player. Like, the guy you want him because like you mentioned, Anthony Davis is always going to be injured. You got LeBron's always going to be injured, and so you're kind of sitting there with Kyrie, who not always injured, but he's a wild card. That's
He might disappear.
Always away. Yeah. Always away. He's like the guy at work that on teams he always sets the status to away or inactive. So you just never know if he's gonna respond to your chat or anything. So that's what he is.
Yeah, it's not great. And then even I'm just even looking at the moves that the Lakers did, and the one move that I actually liked of last offseason was Malik Monk, and then he actually like showed up and he was pretty good. They lost him to Sacramento. Like, this is an overall like a big L for them. It's surprising I don't see that more often on Twitter. Maybe I'm not looking in the right places, but yeah.
My boy.
You mean the outrage on it? Oh
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
because and I know it definitely is going to hurt a Lakers fan, but Lakers fan are kind of delusional. That's why. And year to year, they always find a way to make a really bad situation a win for them.
Yeah,
So, they're gonna spin it in some way to say that this is amazing for them. And like I said, I'm okay. I'm kind of resigned to the fact that if he goes there, it's not gonna bring them anything. And it's not doubting LeBron's greatness, it's doubting that there's a team that's constructed there. Like, it's funny because everything that you're starting to hear about the Lakers are starting to mirror all of the things that you hear about the Nets now. You're hearing LeBron say, I think Mark Stein reported this, is LeBron said he will not sign an extension unless the Lakers get Kyrie Irving. That is like, we're going to handicap teams. We're going to hold
yeah,
teams hostage at this point now. And at some point, there was a video, Eddie House, he works with Fox Sports now. He was like, there's going to be a point where this has to stop because owners that are spending money are not going to respect the fact that teams are literally holding a whole organization hostage. And look at it. We don't have anything. We do have a few things to report on, but we don't have all of the more substantial things that we thought was going to go down in this off season go down because there's two players that are literally holding their organization hostage, and everybody is sitting and waiting for their chance to go at it. You know?
yeah. That's fact.
Messed up situation. We'll see what happens during the next negotiations and everything. Because there has to be, they're definitely going to do something to stop all this because it's definitely getting taken advantage at this point.
Yeah, facts.
So I started actually off with a loser before, so this is my last winner. I'm actually gonna say the Denver Nuggets. Of they made a lot of like sneaky moves. So one, Jeff already mentioned of they, re-signed their best player, so they have Jokic for a very long time. They signed one of Jeff's boys, Bruce Brown, which I think is a very sneaky signing for them. I'm a big fan of that. They traded Will Barton for Kentavious Caldwell Pope and then Ish Smith over there too. Like they made a lot of like nice sneaky moves. I'm a pretty big fan of what this Denver team has. And then not only that, so they didn't need to do too much because their second and third best players are actually coming back from injury and everything. And Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. Like this Denver team has pretty much everything it needs. They just added a little bit more better depth than they had before. I think it's a pretty overall win for them.
That's a team that you think about if they were healthy would honestly give the Warriors a true run for their money. Because I'm not saying the West is bad, but the West isn't necessarily what it was in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it was a cakewalk for Warriors either, but it just with them not being healthy, it affected that series, that first series that they played with the Warriors. And I think the Warriors would have a lot of they would have a lot to work with trying to get past that type of Nuggets team, and hopefully we get to see that some point next year.
For sure. I think that's enough on free agency that we have so far. I say let's move on quickly with the summer league like standout performers that we've seen. I will go to Claude. Who do you have as a summer league standout performer?
So I'm gonna go with my boy, Amari Brooks. Like my man was balling out his mind. My dude, 25 points in 27 minutes, and like basically what he's right now he's playing for a roster spot because like it's honestly it's gonna be between him and Justin Champagny. So basically, the summer league is literally that time where you're fighting for a roster spot, so you got to show what you could do. And he literally put it on his back. He was like, "Yo, I really want to be here. I'm gonna show y'all this is what I could do." And he really showed it, And the Sixers they asked, so we did we did what we had to do. So yeah, for him, I think he stood out for me.
To be honest, I actually don't know too much about Brooks here. Is he a second year player? Like, I guess how did he end
Yeah.
up on the summer league for Toronto right now?
So
He's on the
basically,
Rockets.
Oh, he's on the
yeah,
Rockets. Oh,
Remember
my
that?
bad.
yeah, he was on the
He's
Rockets
on the
before.
Rockets before. Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, and basically, like they gave him a chance, and like again, like I said, he's showing it right now. Like he was undrafted too, and like I think this is his third season. Yeah, this is his third season. So basically, like he really just I feel like he really just want to be in the league, and so he's playing out his mind right now. I want to see what he's gonna do the next game.
Aha. When's
I
the next
think
time they play? Sorry.
I think we actually play today.
Word.
Yeah, let me see.
I think and I was gonna save that for when we go into the spotlight, so I'm not gonna go too hard on that. But I think he fits like a similar mold of a guy like a Cam Thomas, like a bucket getter, but he needs to work on other parts of his game. And like I said, I'll go more into depth about that in the spotlight. But definitely, he was someone that is interesting. I didn't know about that game, but I already knew about his game when he was on the Rockets. So I was going to talk about him later. But I guess that's time for me to pick one of my highlighted players in Summer League currently. Yeah, it's always easy to talk about a guy like Chet with his six blocks record and being
Yeah,
confident and everything, right? But I think I'm gonna go with a team that we talked about was a loser in free agency, but ultimately they were a loser in free agency, but they could have possibly had the steal of the draft and get in Jaden Hardy of the Mavs, where he went off in his first game where he put up 28 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. And, he was completely balling. A lot of people forget that he was a projected top two out of the ESPN 100 leaving high school, right behind Chet. So typically, yes, obviously, a lot of situations change. Why a player may slide in the draft. Like we mentioned it with Patrick Baldwin last week when we was talking about his situation with him being in Wisconsin, where his dad was. Jaden Hardy, I don't know as much about his college time, but I'm sure that there was some things that were affecting his game. But for a first impression, he surely did show people why he should be considered, and I put him also into that same mold of guys like Brooks, Thomas, and him as like guys that are shooters, but they need to now figure out how do I become an effective player in the league because shooting is not going to be the only way you do it.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that he actually decided, let's not go to college, to start getting paid and go to the G League. And so he was playing with grown men there. And it was definitely a transition for him. Because like you mentioned of, like Cam Thomas and all that stuff, like he's a very good shot creator. And that's what everyone knew him for. And so he just kind of struggled for a bit and did like he underperformed. And so it's kind of crazy to me, even though he's still like he fell that far, because I thought he should have still been a first round pick. I wouldn't have even been surprised if someone took him in the 15th pick or whatever, just like right outside the lottery. Like I would not have been surprised. But it's crazy that he was able to fall to the Mavericks. I actually do think it's a pretty big win for them. I had him as one of my guys as well. So love that you had him as well, Jeff. One of the guys that I had So it's definitely very easy to do, like you mentioned, of like the the Chet, the Paolo, all those guys. Still, I kind of wanted to go with one of these high prospect guys. Of he's probably done for the summer league in Jaden Ivey. With he got injured the other day, ankle injury. Who knows if he's gonna come back or not? But the small time that we actually did see Jaden Ivey, it was extremely impressive. Now he's playing against guys that someone else I heard this joke about of like these guys are going to be in Europe in the next 3 weeks. Like it's nothing too crazy competition wise he's going up against, but he was driving to the lane really well. He was extremely fast. His finishing ability was extremely impressive. The one swing skill for him definitely was like his 3-point shooting. He was actually extremely impressive on that. Not afraid to take a shot. Man, this guy definitely has the tools. It kind of hurts my heart as a Knicks fan with all the rumors and everything of that could have been with Jaden Ivey to the Knicks, but hey man, he looks good. The Detroit Pistons are going to be very scary for a long time.
Yeah.
Add to that as well is that and I'm gonna keep on looking at my boy on this team because I'm going to roast the Blazers at every chance that I get that they did not go with who I thought they would go with. But Jalen Duran actually was showing his game off as well in that first game that they played, and it's almost suiting that they played the Blazers in that first game. And what made it even worse is that I believe Sharp got injured in that game as well. So now it's like, the guy that was in my mind most ready as a big to be in plug and play situation and hit the ground running, they didn't go for. And you saw that alley hoop he got from Jaden. That looked nasty. So gonna regret that. I know they're gonna regret that. And that's definitely one of my steals of the draft too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, especially you mentioned with Shaden Sharp of, he was already the mystery man. He didn't play in college. He opted out, didn't want to do any of this. And I was so excited to actually see, like, all right, can this guy actually do something on an NBA floor? Like, can he look the part? I don't want all hype. Like, I want to see him actually do something because all the tape I would watch of him it's high school. He's going against 5'8" kids, and like I don't care about this.
Yeah.
The first 5 minutes he gets hurt, and it's like this guy's, I don't know. I want to see him play basketball. It's just not happening. Yeah, I guess that's enough on Shaden Sharp. Claude, who do you have as your second guy? If you have a second.
I'm gonna think my man on Jeff team, Michael Mulder. Mulder, is that how you say his name? He on the Heat.
Oh yeah.
Like he like I know my man is like he old. It's probably like his third or fourth season or whatever. But he came off the bench and he did what he had to do. He had like 23 points and 4 rebounds off the bench, and he was shooting 5 for 7 from deep. So it just shows like, I mean, like, yeah, you've been in the league and things like that, but when it's your time to shine, you gotta step up and do that. And that's why I feel like he stood out to me.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice when you're able to perform at this level. Like this is what you're supposed to do. Even if you're an older guy, like you gotta show that you're too good for this right now. And
Yeah.
he was able to do that. That's all you want. Jeff, you got a second player?
I do got a second player. It's team that we spoke about earlier as well too. Moses Moody. He had a great performance in that first game against the Knicks. I don't have all the numbers right in front of me, but I know that he did come to play. He was putting up a lot of points in that game. Definitely refreshing to see how he's turned around his first season sitting on that bench, learning from these veterans how to win, and then turning that into instant gratification in this summer and putting some very impressive numbers in his first start. Not first start, in his first game of summer league. I think I got the numbers now. He had 34 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. That is impressive, shooting 8 of 13 from the field and 3 of 6 from three. So
Nah,
this is a good performance.
Moses Moody is Jeff. It's actually kind of funny. So I have a couple different guys just in case if anything happens. You took both the main guys I want to talk about. Moses Moody is pretty. It was extremely impressive, especially two of the two guys that he was mainly going against on the Knicks side are like Quentin Grimes and Deuce McBride, who are known for being really good defenders. He cooked them like it was nothing. This man was scoring every chance he had. It was extremely impressive, I have to say. Moses Moody, if he can keep this up, like that's where I'm like, oh, Golden State, I don't know if they're gonna miss these other guys too much because you got these young bloods, hungry right now. So we'll see what ends up happening. But Moses Moody, definitely a killer.
It's funny. Like I once again liken this guy to a similar situation with like the Thomas, like Cam Thomas's situation. When you have these guys that are coming up in the league and they're playing with these vets that know how to win, are on the top of their game, and they have a lot of promise. It's like when Krillin takes off the weighted like clothes he has, because then they come to summer league. They've been learning from these guys. They've been working with these guys so long. They come and they play so hard, and they just it all on the line when the summer league time.
Yeah. Plus, like they have the attitude to win. They know how to win. So like just them
Exactly.
sitting down, like watching is just, that's a benefit for them.
Yeah, for sure. And
Exactly.
they already got Moses Moody already has his ring and everything. He didn't really have to do too much, but like, it's relieved pressure.
He's trying to get two, Brian. He's trying to get
Exactly.
two rings in 1 year, man. Summer league ring.
If it's me, I would play with the ring. Have it on my person.
Yeah, you guys see that summer league ring? It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's straight.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I hope they continue that because definitely I would like to see a lot of like younger guys that maybe need some more time. Like someone I would love on the Knicks side, like if Cam Reddish, if Cam Reddish actually like he's not getting a lot of minutes. He's like the 10th, 11th man on the Knicks, and even for Atlanta, he was on the bench a lot of the time. Like I want to see these guys get some more reps. I want to see summer league be a bit more competitive. I mean, maybe it's a little bit more unfortunate for those other guys that are like G League guys that are fighting for their way up, but I want to see competitive.
Nah, like I saw this thing. It was like now that like the summer league thing got rings, Chris Paul gonna start signing up for it to get a ring.
It's true.
So dumb.
We'll see. No. Since I'm going on the fly here, I'm gonna real quick. I want to do a shout out to my guy Jericho Sims on the Knicks. This man is
Still blocking shots, huh?
yeah. This man was a 58th pick. He's literally all he does is dunk, jump super high, and grab rebounds, and that's kind of all you need. And especially for like a 58th pick, this guy is like a next level athlete. Got a giant body. He almost died to Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know if you guys saw that. He almost died, but I love that he tried to, or he did block that poster and everything and contested it. It's nice, but not too much on Jericho Sims and all. I actually wanted to get your guys' opinion on what we've been seeing from Paolo Banchero, the first pick in the NBA draft. So far, it looks like he's living up to the hype, but first initial thoughts on him.
Like I feel like they really did a good job drafting him, and like literally like what in high school he was ranked top 10 too. So like they already know what he's gonna bring to the table, and the fact that he's able to show it and like not like crumble through like to the pressure of everything, and just actually just go out there and ball. Like it's big ups for him.
Not surprised at all. even though like in my mock I still had him at 3, but we always knew that this was gonna. I said it when we did the mock is that he could very well be the rookie of the year. He has the athleticism, he has the flash, he has the NBA ready body to be effective. So what we're seeing does not surprise me at all. I think we're just gonna keep on seeing him do these crazy things. I think it's another like it's the most surefire. We know he's gonna be a star player since like a guy like when Kevin Durant came into the league.
The one thing I love to see from Paolo is that his defensive intensity, especially like the last game, it was a super close game, overtime and all that stuff. Like he blocked the last shot. He's really doing everything. He's giving it a lot of effort. It's really awesome to see how well Paolo's doing. Let's see how it actually translates to the real thing. Another guy I actually wanted to bring up, because I forgot him until right now, was if you guys been hearing about Kenny Lofton Jr. on the Memphis Grizzlies. Rookie, he was just drafted, big body
boy.
guy, yeah, big boy and everything. This guy, he's cooking. He's doing really well right now in summer league, and we even saw him going against Chet and everything, pushing him all over. What do you guys think about Kenny Lofton Jr.?
It was always nice. I remember always seeing like his
High school
hoop
tape.
mixtapes. Yeah, like when he was on AAU teams, just like obliterating people. But like it's obviously the size that is gonna keep people concerned. But if you look at it from his time when he was in college, he's actually cut some weight. Obviously still a big boy, but like I liken to him to like being someone like a big baby Davis, like in the league, where he holds that weight, but still he's just balling. And I know that even though he was pushing up on Chet in that game, they have some history. Like they both played on Team USA together, so like those are guys that knew each other. They definitely know each other's game a little bit.
Oh,
So
Jeff, your mic, I think, got disconnected right there.
you hear me now?
It's still Claude. Do you hear it like that too, or is
Yeah,
it
it's disconnected.
yeah? I guess until while Jeff does this, Claude, do you have any thoughts on Kenny Lofton Jr.?
Yeah, I like the fact that like he's out here like when I think like usually when I think of like big boys like Jeff said I do think about Big Baby Davis and things like that. So I like the fact that he's able to get down there and put his body move his body, put his body on people to get points and stuff like that. And I like that. You know what I mean? It reminds me of like back in the day like that nitty gritty basketball. You know what I mean? So, and I kind of like that. You know what I mean? Like he's doing his thing. I like that. I really do like that.
He's super like smooth with it too, and it's kind of cool to see like you see a player with his body size and all that. You don't think he's gonna be as athletic or quick as he really is, but he really knows how to use his body. He does his thing. He already has his seal approval from John Morant. John's tweeting about it and everything. It's definitely impressive, and I can see him getting some time in actual NBA games.
Yeah, facts.
All right, Jeff, how's your mic? Let's see.
I
Oh, it's
think I'm
good.
back.
You're
You're good.
back. You're
Yeah.
back. Do you want to finish your
Yeah.
thought on?
Pulled it. But yeah, no, I think Claude hit it on the head with that is he yeah, he hit it right on the head as well. I'm just gonna say.
Word.
Look ago.
All right. Well, that's enough. Saying with Summer League right now.
Oh wait, hold on. I want to mention
Word.
one,
Word.
one
You
more
got one
person.
more guy? Let's go.
My boy Scottie Pippen Jr. You know,
Ooh.
yeah. I feel like it's the fact that he's undrafted, like, and like he's just he like because I just like the fact that they're out here trying to prove themselves. So the fact that he's undrafted and he came out and dropped like 19 points against the Suns, I feel like he got that edge to him because we all know who his dad is,
Yep.
right? So the fact that he didn't get drafted and stuff like that just shows that like he's hungry for it, that he actually wants to be here and stuff like that. And like, so he got a great dad. He on a great franchise as like the Lakers. So he gonna try to be great himself.
This is dad.
Oh, man, I would say a name, but
Oh, you're messed up. I was not just thinking of it like that.
Nah, he's Scottie Pippen's Jr. is nice. He definitely doing his thing. It's I guess it's a little bit surprising to see him go completely undrafted. I like
Yeah,
that the Lakers were able to pick someone like him up. They also picked up Sharif O'Neal, who's
yeah,
I
true.
mean, he's also not really. I mean, from everything I hear, I haven't really seen him play in a long time. I know he had a lot of medical stuff in the past, but I know in the combine he didn't perform the best.
Yeah,
But it's cool that they're taking shots on players like that. It's cool to even see like a lot of these juniors and all that stuff starting to come in the NBA and actually starting to perform a little bit. You had Kenyon Martin Jr. and all that.
yeah.
You have we just talked about Gary Payton Jr. and all that. Like, yeah, they're doing some good stuff. Am I missing something, Jeff?
There's we don't. You know what? I'm gonna save it for the spotlight. I'm gonna save it for the spotlight.
All right. So let's go on to the team spotlight. So of course, we're doing the Toronto Raptors here. We got our subject matter expert Claude on the building. I'm really excited about this because the Raptors are in a very interesting place right now. But before we go into any of the other stuff, I want to get your thoughts. I remember last time we talked, Jeff and I were like, maybe like seventh, eighth seed, like around there. They're going to do a little bit something. And you from the start were like, they're going to be like 4 seed. They're going to be so good and all that. They ended up in the 5th seed. They went 48 wins, 34 losses. What did you think about this last season for the Toronto Raptors?
I was super proud. Like it's the like my like in the beginning of the year it was a little rocky. I thought I thought my prediction was gonna be off, but they literally came, and shout out to Freddie. He literally put on his back while Siakam was in here, and he was playing like 48 minutes basically every game. Like so I appreciate him for that, and it just shows like the worth ethic that they play for each other. We're gonna play defense, and we actually gonna be out here trying to win games. Like, and the fact that like Scotty like became like showing like what he actually is, and I just loved it. Like this last season was actually a really good season. Like I love that we actually got to the fifth seed, and actually showed people like that Tampa Bay season that was a fluke. We weren't in Toronto. You know what I mean? Like we were in Florida and stuff like that. We didn't want to be there, but now we at where we want to be. We showing y'all like how what it really is. So I really did like that.
Yeah, it's really cool to see like the huge comeback, especially like you mentioned after that season in Tampa and everything. You touched on Scotty Barnes there. I wanted to get your thoughts even more and deeper about like what did you like so much about Scotty? I mean, rookie of the year and everything. Like, what did you see from him every day?
So one of the most things I like about Scotty is that like he's still a kid at heart. Like he loved basketball, and he gonna show that he actually loves it. He gonna be smiling, making jokes and things, playing around. But then when it's time to get serious, he's still gonna do that. So like it just shows me like he really puts basketball in the front of his mind, and he's actually gonna do like he's actually doing what he loves. So he's gonna put his full like maximum potential and effort into it. So I actually do like that about Scotty. And I feel like also like like just seeing him like before like as a raw prospect and stuff like that. We knew that he had defense, but his offensive game it wasn't really like there yet. But that also goes to show like about the Raptors like development team, like how they actually go in and out gym workouts, food, diet plans, all that stuff just to get this dude where he needs to be, and that like he's scoring like like he's been doing this for years now. So I really do like Scotty, like, and I feel like he was a great asset to the team.
It's nice
I
to
wanted to add
see.
something
Jeff, please go.
to that as well as There's certain things, and the reason why I think why he wound up winning the Rookie of the Year is there's certain things you can't teach, and size, drive, those things is intangibles that you can't teach, right? And that's what he has, you know. Like it's almost in my mind. I think of it like a LeBron. Like LeBron came into the league without a shot, and over time he developed that. So I don't think it's. I think in spite of where he is good in spite of where he is. I think you put him and you plug him into anywhere, he figures it out. He might not figure it out as quickly, but he's still gonna figure it out. I just think that that's the type of player who he is. I was really high on him. We talked, and if we're gonna be honest, we really gonna be honest. Like I remember you weren't so high on him
No, I
when
wasn't.
I told you when I told you he was gonna be nice.
Because like
So
remember, like I already knew Kyle Lowry was leaving, so I'm thinking we need another point guard. So like I thought we were gonna draft damn, what's his name? He on the Magics.
Jalen Suggs.
Yeah, Jalen Suggs. I thought we were gonna draft him to replace Kyle Lowry. But then, who am I? I'm not Masai Jerry, man. I should have trusted him the whole time, Like and Masai we trust.
oh man, I've heard I've went down that road of trusting a GM. Yeah, I don't say stuff like that. Don't worry. But no, like I agree. Like the development team definitely did a lot of work with him this year to get him to where he is. It's just going to be a great to see what leaps or steps he's taken over the summer and brings into this next season.
Yeah.
It's also nice, like you could definitely tell the Raptors did their homework on like someone like Scotty Barnes, because even before I would always hear about when he was in Florida State in college, everyone always talked about him as like the heart of the team, or the heart of that Florida State team. Of, in practice, he's the loudest guy and everything, the hardest worker there. So like that's the kind of guy you want on your team. And
Yeah.
it generally always works out for those guys, especially when they have all the other intangibles, like you mentioned, the size, the height. And then as well, you have someone like a Pascal Siakam and all these other guys that are very similar to his size and all that he can learn from and take a lot from there. I wanted to get your thoughts on, so maybe, I mean, not maybe, it was a little bit of a disappointing postseason of, losing to Philly, 4-2 and everything. What did you guys think you needed a little bit more? Was it you need more performance from someone like Pascal? Like, what do you think could have actually gotten you guys that win potentially, like going forward, and especially like looking forward into the future of what do you guys need more?
I feel like a bigger component of it was that Freddie was hurt. Like he was suffering, I think, from a hamstring. So that actually played a major role in it, because if you don't got one of your leaders on the floor, and it's just it was just tough. Like, and I give it to Philly too, because like Embiid was taking elbows everywhere. Like we were playing hard. Like we were playing hard. We were trying to stop that big man from doing his thing, but he still did. Like I remember I was at work, what I mean? I'm watching it on my phone. And B hit that three. I'm like, yo, what's like, come on, man. Like, and it's like, I give it to them. Like, I feel like, yeah, if we had Freddie, it would have been closer. But I feel like also like our bench was not strong really. Like Delano Banton, yeah, he in the beginning of the season he was showing things, but then he kind of disappeared. Ski Mikailu, like he can't even be played at that point, because he just wasn't like showing anything. And it's like just like for everybody else on the bench, they weren't really doing much to help really. The only person really that was doing much, and we re-signed, was Chris Boucher. You know what I mean? The Slim Demon. So like he was like literally the only person off the bench that was really doing things. And Malachi Flynn did come in a little bit and have a little push, but it wasn't enough to like stop Philly from what they're doing. And like Maxey was also destroying us too. Like he was he was acting like he was prime James Harden, and James Harden over here just watching. Like, so like that's a major thing that like kind of like not help. Like our bench really was not strong enough to be there. Because like I said, like Freddie was like doing like 40 minutes a game off that because we don't really have a backup point guard. So yeah, it was our bench that really that wasn't holding up to like for that series.
So one, I'm actually very curious about always Malachi Flynn. I liked him coming out of the draft. I'm every single time I watch this guy actually play, like whenever I turn on the Raptors and I see them, Malachi Flynn's always killing it. Like, why doesn't he play a little bit more? And like, I guess, yeah, what do you need to see from him, like taking that next step?
So when you're in that Nick Nurse system and you're on the bench, and if you mess up like one or two times, you're not gonna play for a minute. Like literally, you need because our main thing is play defense and play for each other. So basically, if you step out of line, kinda, and start doing your own thing, and like if you do your own thing and it goes in, all right, cool. But if you do your own thing and you just it's not working, it's like he don't like Nick Nurse don't like that. So like basically he gonna have to basically sit you down, let you see what he actually wants, and then he'll put you back in. Like, cause like the year before, I remember Chris Boucher, he just kept messing up and messing up and messing up. At one point, like they weren't letting him play at all. Like until he got into his head, like, yo, like this is how they want me to play. This is how I should play. And if I do then this is when I'll get my time to shine. This is why he did that this year, and he basically got his contract, and that's how it works over here.
What did you think about all those rumors before with the Lakers? So you talked a lot about Darvin Ham. What did you think, or not Darvin Ham, about Nick Nurse? Now the Lakers signed Darvin Ham. What did you think about like all those rumors of Nick Nurse potentially going there and
I
all
thought it
that?
was nonsense. I thought it was nonsense. He not leaving Toronto. like, I know. I remember me and Jeff talking about it. Like, I brought it up to him. We just laughed at it. Like who the Lakers think they are? like, yeah, nah, that wasn't gonna happen. I had no concerns about it.
ultimately, I feel like it wouldn't even benefit the Lakers because the way how he coaches is not necessarily a modern way of coaching in the NBA, where he does have aspects that he has to have that keeps up with the modern game, but like a lot of his coaching style is mirrored from old school basketball of more than self type of things. And as we see, there's only a handful of teams that actually adopt that, and because of that, that's why they're the teams that you usually see at the end of the season holding up to Larry O'Brien, like the Warriors. Like they have the right amount of players to understand, and may have a lot more talent than they show. But they understand what their role is on that specific team and what I need to bring to the team each and every game, right? So I don't know how that translates on a team with LeBron James, and I don't know how he coexists with that with whatever LeBron's going to want to do with the team as well. I actually had a question, Brian, to segue into this. We brought up Joel Embiid, so I felt like this was a good time to ask this question. Obviously, everyone always talks about how him and Siakam are from the same country, but I think it's a little bit more deeper. Of what I want to get into is that Masai Ujiri, obviously, also being of African descent, I don't remember the exact country. He is a big proponent of basketball without borders, and we have seen year over year now that there's a pipeline of players that have come from Africa, more specifically Cameroon, that have been helped and aided by Masa Ujiri's ability to help with that program. Now you guys are bringing in a kid named Christian Kuluko.
Yeah.
What do you feel about this guy? What are you hearing? Obviously, I'm thinking just like just brought him up. Like a guy like Siakam needed his time, and then you got Chris Boucher, he needed his time. What do you think is necessary for this guy?
So it's probably gonna be the same thing. Like literally, I seen him do an interview, and they asked him like, "Yo, like, are you in Siakam cool?" And then he was like, "Yeah, we're from the same country. I seen him like one time we spoke, but I haven't really talked to him and things like that." So I feel like once you get that familiarity with Siakam and like, because he still hasn't even been to Toronto yet, because the whole summer league thing. So I feel like when he actually gets over there, and he's been working with the trainers and stuff like that already. But when he officially gets to Toronto and he becomes like integrated to like the part of the team, like I feel like it's obviously gonna take some time because one, he's a center. So and you already know it takes time for centers to get to where they reach their full potential in the league. So I feel like once he gets to Toronto and like he gets like comfortable with everybody and stuff like that, we'll actually start seeing him shine. He's not there to be a starter. Like he's there to be somebody off the bench to come help at the center position. Cause honestly, there was rumors and stuff like that we were actually trying to get Gobert, but Utah was asking for too much. And we were actually trying to see like a whole trade thing with them, and then we're also trying to get DeAndre Ayton too, but because of the news about him, and we also trying to see if there'd be like 3-team trade with Utah, the Nets, and the Raptors. So so with that just being said, I just feel like Christian, like his role is literally he's gonna come off the bench. If anything, I think Precious Achua is gonna start, and if it'll be a battle between him and Ken Burks to see who picks up the second position for this the center role. That's why I look at it.
I like it. I like it. I'm
I got
curious.
one more.
All right. Sorry, please, Jeff.
One last question. So we went
Mhm.
international, but now let's bring it back to the backyards. Not too far from where Brian is actually. You got you have the Franklin Lakes native, Ron Harper Jr., son of world champion Ron Harper. Um, he was obviously an outstanding player for Rutgers these last 2 years, but he's on your summer league and he had a decent first game. What are you feeling about him? Do you think he gets a roster spot?
I feel like he will, like, cause he right now he's on that Fred Van Vliet mode, like basically bet on yourself, because like he got that I feel like he's angry, so like he wants to show basically that all these teams that passed up on me, like I deserve to be here. So I feel like he's gonna try to do his best to show out and show people that what he could actually do. And I feel like I've seen some clips of him in college and stuff like that. And man is nasty. So like I feel like if he actually works hard and actually wants to be here, he'll get a roster spot. Cause it's not like I said before, like it's people really fighting for these roster spots. And it's gonna like I if I was it'd be hard to be my side jury to choose who gonna be like who you gonna choose to be on this team, because it's a lot of good players, and it's just because we don't want the same thing that happened last year with our benches being like not productive. So he's gonna try to figure out who's the best pieces to put in place that will help us get to the next level. So I feel like he actually has a good chance to actually be part of the team next year.
I like it. I like it. I wanted to ask about. So we talked a lot before earlier in the podcast about free agency and everything. I want to get your thoughts on the Raptors free agency moves. So of course, guys signed Otto Porter Jr., signed DJ Wilson, re-signed Chris Boucher. Like, what do you think about all these moves?
I actually like it. Like Thaddeus Young, I think we gave him an extension.
Yep. Extension.
Yeah, like we like we because again, like we want the big boys there. You know what I mean? If you if you like 6'5" and up, like we got a spot for you that if you could play, we got a spot for you and things like that. And I think re-signing Chris Boucher was because in the beginning of the year it was a question because of how he played last year, but the fact that he went out this year and he actually did what he was supposed to do just showed that he deserved the money for it. And being the fact that he's from Canada too, like Like they were just like, yeah, you deserve this money, so here. And I actually like all the pieces that we got. That the main thing that I'm waiting for is this Kevin Durant trade to see how that goes down. But we waiting like everybody else.
So that's one of the biggest things I want to talk about, especially of course, Raptors are one of the teams that's linked to them, or Kevin Durant one of the most, and what always kind of feels like probably one of the more realistic options.
Yeah.
What do you think about the whole situation? Do you want Kevin Durant? What would you give up and all this? What do you think?
So, like, who in their right mind wouldn't want Kevin Durant, right? Like, that's like the only reason it's tough because, like, with trades, right? Especially with a trade like this, you're gonna have to take a big piece of what made your team good to get a good player, and sometimes it don't equate to that. You know what I mean? So I feel like they want Scotty Barnes. They're not getting Scotty Barnes. Like that's not happening. And I feel like, but who else could we trade? Who else could we trade to basically make the Nets actually want to trade Kevin Durant here? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to trade Siakam? I doubt it. Like, are they going to trade? Like, I know the pieces that they will gladly trade is OG and Gary Trent Jr. And they'll probably toss in probably like schema Kylu like John laughing like probably tossing ski in there and then probably give you like 4 picks that y'all want, but like I feel like it giving up Scotty and also giving up 4 picks is just like you're literally giving up on your future. Like if this thing don't go right with Kevin Durant, it's just like now we're in the next position that they were in like before. And like I don't think that'd be a good move for us. And like another thing that also ruined the market was what the Timberwolves did with Rudy Gobert. Like if Rudy Gobert cost this much, Kevin Durant got cost way more than what he just like got. So it's just like them doing that just messed up the market. So it's now just making like things even tougher to get this trade done with them.
Jeff, what do you think about some of these fake trades that Claude's throwing out here? You got Gary Trent, OG. What do you think about players like that for Kevin Durant?
So Adrian Wojnarowski said a couple of days ago, and he's a mouthpiece for Sean Marks. He's mentioned that the team that has the smoothest and most and least complicated path to getting Kevin Durant is the Raptors. There's been reports that Kevin Durant is warm to the idea of going to play for Toronto. There's also, they do this every time someone is potentially going to go somewhere. They bring up stories about this person wanted to be somewhere in their life. So Katie grew up being a Vince Carter fan, which in turn made him want to be a part of the Toronto Raptors at some point in his career. And I mean, in his life. So there's all of that comes into it first. But I will tell you this is I know Claude is very well versed with this person that I'm about to say, but Brian, I don't know if you know him too well, but there is a YouTuber. His name is Legend of Winning, and he recently was doing his own, like he was playing GM
That's
and
it.
getting phone calls and fielding phone calls. I think that was the best. It was a Raptors fan that was giving an idea of what it would look like. I think Scotty has to be in the trade. Like it's because the reason why I say that is what Kevin Durant affords you is 4 times is 4x what you got when you got Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah,
My mind, because think about it, he was a 1 year rental and he
yeah,
brought you a championship. Now
yeah.
you have a 4 year window of winning that championship, and then this is that I think is being potentially, yes, But there's potential that Scotty Barnes isn't good either, right? Like there's potential that anything can happen, right?
Yeah,
But the biggest thing that's on your side where I think it makes most sense for him if he does wind up leaving Brooklyn to land in Toronto is there's already a winning pedigree there. Like you guys have won a championship. I think the biggest issue that comes with when these guys decided to come to the Nets is that there was not a winning pedigree. So there's not someone that could step up to them and says, "We know how to win.
yeah,
You need to sit your you know what down and let us do our job," you know? And that's going to be a big factor if and Kevin Durant is not the type of player I think that would fight that, you know? Like we saw how he was when he was on the Warriors. The Warriors talked about how seamless it was that he fit into it. We saw him come back from a torn Achilles and it looked like he didn't miss a beat.
right.
So putting Kevin Durant around what the package would leave, what you would be left with would be like something of a Fred Van Vliet, a Siakam, a Chris Boucher, a Kevin Durant lineup. I don't even know who that person would be at shooting guard, but that's already a team that's hard to beat. And you guys have an immense amount of size.
Yeah,
Like you're adding the ultimate size guy, you know, like to help space out the floor and everything. And then I think being who he is, he's a guy that loves to play this game. Being on a team that plays that hard would only strengthen him and make him want to play even harder. And another thing to add to that is you guys are known for being one of those type of teams. If your star players out are in, you're still going to play with that same intensity. We
yeah,
saw in that year, in the 19 year, where even though Kawhi was traded, he was still sitting out games
yeah.
and it looked like you didn't miss a beat. So
I think he only played like 60 games that year.
when I exactly. So when I look at it and I look at every team that's considered, value on both sides for both teams is the is making a deal with the Raptors. And I think that Scotty Barnes has to be a big part of it.
No, I
Just
agree with you. I agree with you. Like,
you can yeah, like you could lower the amount of draft picks if that's the case, but and that's why, like I said, the trade that Lowe presented was they presented to Lowe was like Scotty Barnes, 2 picks, Precious, and one other player, I think it was, and then that was it. You know, I know that doesn't sound like a little bit to you, but I think that gets it done. That's the type of deal that gets it done.
no, yeah, because like I did a little 2K simulation, and I feel like keeping Scotty was too much. Like keeping Scotty was way too much. I was like, yeah, like if Masai Ujiri could pull it off and we keep him, I don't know what like. That'd just be crazy. Like off that rip, he got win executive of the year. Just off that alone. Like if he's able to pull that off where he keeps Scotty too, like because like y'all not really asking for Siakam. Y'all not asking for Freddie. Y'all literally want a Scotty. And so it's like I don't know. It's gonna be a tough thing because like I think Scotty was riding around in the city. He was on a little scooter having fun and things like that. And a fan pulled up to him or asked him, "Are you leaving?" He was like, "Nah, I'm staying here. I'm gonna be here with y'all for a minute." So I don't know, and hopefully, like
Not if he's traded.
hopefully, like they're not doing the same thing that they did to like DeMar DeRozan, like not talk to him about stuff. Hopefully, they communicating with the players and stuff, tell them like, this is what we got on the table, just to let you know and stuff like this. So just be prepared. Hopefully, they're actually doing that this time instead of like coming in, yeah, DeMar, man, you're gonna start shooting threes this season. 2 days later, yeah, man, you out of here, man. We got Kawhi. You know? Like, hopefully they talking to them, like you know what I mean. That's what I'm hoping for.
But did they win? Did they win though?
No,
You know, and that's where it always comes back down to.
nah, they did win, you know. But DeMar is talking about like,
But you know what? I'm gonna add it again. Oh, his mental
yeah,
health situation. I'll add this last part. This is another thing that has been blown into perspective, out of proportion, and put on the forefront of this whole Nets thing that's going on. Is that because of the situation, because of how crazy it is for the Nets, that the Nets won't be able to bring top talent ever again to their team. If it didn't affect you guys with how you guys left DeMar DeRozan in that situation, I really don't think like after a few years it literally leaves a scar that big where
Nah,
teams can't do what they have to do.
nah, because like the thing I feel with the Nets, it's like they mishandled just this situation really. Like it's not like like I don't look at them like in a like a stupid franchise. I don't look at them like that. Like like I'm trying to think of a team that I would think is like a stupid franchise. I want to say the Rockets. You know?
I thought you was gonna say the Kings. I thought
Oh,
I was gonna hear the
yeah, the
Kings
Kings.
come
Yeah,
out of your
definitely the
mouth.
Kings. Yeah, definitely the Kings. Yeah. Like they're not like that. Like I don't like. Don't, remember you called the Kings like the a wasteland of the NBA. Like you know that's where your career goes to die. like, you know what I mean. I don't look at the Nets like that. I feel like like when D'Lo was there and everything, y'all brought that culture there. Like it was like y'all part of memes and things. Like it's cool. It was cool. Y'all were dancing and things like that. So I don't feel like this right here would be a scar that no one would ever want to go play for the Nets. And plus, it's New York. You know what I mean? It's Brooklyn. You got stars over there. So people always gonna want to come to New York. You know, like no matter what it is. Like people still go to the Knicks. You know what I mean? Like so, I feel like it'd be cool.
They strike out more times than not. So
True. True.
Jalen Brunson's the one guy that they actually aimed for and actually got a hit, and it's the one guy that like you can't miss there. Like
Yeah.
there's too many family ties for them to miss. But I'm curious on like so because for me, my kind of stance on the Kevin Durant stuff, I Jeff, we talked about this before of like I personally wouldn't add Scotty Barnes. Like even if it was kind of even if that was like the deal breaker, I'm just be like, too bad. Just because I think Scotty Barnes is like eventually can be a guy that's the number one option on a championship team. Like I think he's that type of quality player. He's gonna turn 21 in at the beginning of next month. It's like this guy has so much potential. He's so good right now. And it's like I guess even when you just won a championship with like Kawhi, like yeah, you had it for 1 year. That's worth it and all. But
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of want more championships. And if with someone like Kevin Durant, you get him. You have him for 4 years. Awesome. Maybe you win a championship. After he leaves, though, now it's like, what's next? Like, how do you rebuild this again? How do you get another Scotty Barnes? Like, that's where it
The
makes it
chances
really
are
tough.
still low.
So
The
that's
chances are
where
still another
so that's
Scotty
where
Barnes.
it's like if you think about, I guess, long term for the Raptors, I think the Raptors, if you're trying to win, let's say 3 championships in the next 10 years, I think your chances are probably better with Scotty Barnes accomplishing that versus getting Kevin Durant. You will definitely win a championship, I think, if you have like Kevin Durant on your team and he's healthy, things go right. I think that's a pretty easy winning formula. But I'm just trying
Yeah.
to think like very long term. That's kind of like my view on it. I guess I don't know this as a fan that my team hasn't won a championship in like 60 years or whatever. How do you feel about this, Claude? Of like your team just won not too long ago. Are you hungry for like another kind of Kawhi situation where you have this guy for a couple years and that's it, or are you trying to look for like another 10 years forward? Like I was just saying.
Nah, I look for another 10 years. Like cause I don't like the fact like to trade for him you gotta dismantle the team. I don't like we already built something around that what we have. Like if we could get another piece like without destroying what we have, like the core. Like me personally, I love OG. I don't want to trade OG. Like that's my guy. Like literally, that's literally my guy. Like I call him the quiet sniper. Like he literally is my guy. Like I don't want to trade him and stuff like that. And he's from the UK. Like come on, man. Like like he's like I don't want to trade him. Like and I feel like we have the pieces. We got the trees. And if we could find like something to help our bench and things like that, we would be further along and stuff like that. So I'm like I like the 10-year thing. Then like be like because like yeah we just got a ring, but literally we could trade for Kevin Durant right now and dismantle the team to a point where we won't we just stay like a playoff team and stuff like that. So nothing really changes. That's how I look at it.
You touched on OG there. There's already the rumors of OG wanting out after the emergence of Scotty Barnes. You know, his role lessened a little bit more. You have a team like the Trailblazers that are very hot and want OG. I guess I know you mentioned you don't want to trade him, but I guess like with him asking out, would you trade him? What would you be wanting as a return? Like the OG market definitely is one that's confusing for me, and I don't
It's it's
I don't know
tough
what his value is.
because like if we were gonna trade for Rudy Gobert, he was gonna be the main piece for that. And then, like, when I say like the Timberwolves really messed that up, like they really messed that up. like they messed it up for everybody. So like he was because like a lot of people would say like Raptors fans like they want a traditional center and stuff like that. Like we need a center and things like that. But I feel like the way that we're going right now, like we've been without a traditional center for like a while now. So it's just like and we've been like especially last year we did okay. We were the fifth seed. So I feel like OG like if we traded him is literally something to really help the bench. And the reason why like Scotty also like got to the point was like where he's at is because like in the beginning of the year they were giving OG like chances, like he was bringing the ball up the floor, he was the man like passing and stuff like that, he was controlling the offense. He got injured. That's the thing. And he like every year he gets injured. So basically with injury, you give somebody else a chance to like slide into your spot and take control. Cause like Scott, like I feel like Scotty's timeline, he leaked a lot to where he's at right now, you know? So basically, and it's hard to deny what he is. So it's tough. Honestly, it's tough. Like yeah, it's really tough. Like I don't want to trade OG, but I feel like if because like now like the only trade that people really focus about is like the Kevin Durant thing. So like, I feel like the only trade is like he's gonna be in it and Gary Trent gonna be in the trade like no matter
Yeah.
what. So
Is so you mentioned Kevin Durant, main guy. Is there anyone else? So like let's say Kevin Durant doesn't get traded or Kevin Durant goes to Phoenix, whatever.
yeah,
What is Toronto's next move?
I mean they actually talked about trying to get Aiton. It's just the Suns like saying all this nonsense about him. So it's like, do we really want to trade for a guy like this and things like that? And but I feel like what they should do, like if say like Kevin Durant doesn't go to the Suns and like Aiton is still there, probably do try to trade for him because like at the end of the day it's like it's all speculation. Like a player could be something over here but go to a different franchise and blossom to something else. So I feel like you never really know what a player is until you have him in your system.
Definitely agree. Jeff, do you have anything else, or do you have another question before I ask my final one?
Oh, I'm ready to wrap it up.
Word. So, Claude, like I mentioned
Pun
before,
intended.
last year, um, you gave us a pretty hot prediction or a hot take prediction that ended up being completely right. Do you are like where do you see this team landing next year?
Alright. So if it's the Raptors with KD and Scotty, I say third seat, second seat. If it's like the Raptors with KD, no Scotty, 4 seeds, it's probably third seed. If it's just like what we are right now, I still think like we'll be like fifth seed, fourth seed. You know, because I feel like
But you think? I'm sorry to cut you off, but do you think like the Hawks, what they did, that doesn't scare you?
nah, not at all.
Couple other notable teams got better. in the East, you don't think you slip at all?
Nah, I don't think that. Cause like we just signed Otto Porter, right? I feel like he got that defense and stuff like that, and he's like what 6'7", I think. So he fits with what we're trying to do. Like literally we got people that will guard you on every position. Like literally if you want to switch, we're gonna switch and we're gonna do what we gotta do to you. So basically like I feel like we're not scared of nobody. Like if we could get our scoring to where I would like it, then we'll be scarier. But right now it's like it's hard to play in Toronto. It's hard to play over there. So it's like I feel like we'll be fifth seed, fourth seed again, and like I'm really excited to see how this season goes because I feel like Scotty gonna take another leap, and I feel like it's gonna be good.
Oh, well, Claude, thank you for coming on. This has actually been a lot of fun. Taking a lot of your time up. Um, Before we go, like, is there anything you wanna shout out? We can link it to the description and all that.
Oh, let's see. So yeah, like I want to link like basically my company is called Teddy Rico Designs. So I basically been working on designs for people here and there, like flyers, advertisement stuff, even like bags or t-shirts and stuff like that. I've been designing those things like that. Um Also like I've been working on music and things like that. I just dropped the tape like I think like 2 months ago or a month ago, and I've actually been getting good feedback on it. So I think it's dope and things like that. It'd be cool if people check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. So, all the listeners, please go check it out. All those links are going to be in the description. Again, appreciate it, Claude. I know before earlier, Jeff, you mentioned weekly recap and everything. I feel like with the Kevin Durant news, there really haven't, or the stall of everything happening, like there really hasn't been a whole lot, and the little news that I've even heard dropped little throughout the pod, so nothing to add more there. Um, Jeff, do you have anything you want to say before we end it and call it a show?
Yes, my last plea to Kevin Durant. I know you saw what happened with the new guys we added to the team. I think we got a nice team, man. If we run it back, man, I think that we're still a top three team. Adding guys like Royce O'Neal, having Ben Simmons actually be active. You see him actually at the Summer Leagues game showing support. Like the guy's showing face this off season. He wants to be in Brooklyn. He's happy to be in Brooklyn. Kyrie, he needs to get on the same page as well. um, uh, but realistically, these guys, they've done some work to strengthen on some of the things that they were lacking on. And size was a big thing. The Nets could find a way to get a big man as well in this offseason, and they're able to keep these two guys. I really don't see a world where the Nets are not a very competitive team. And this is always like forgotten about this season is up till January, which it seemed like there was a role reversal at that point. The Nets were the number one seed in the East, and KD went down. So and this is why also it ties into the Raptors thing. 80 alone is going to change the fortunes of your team. So there's a reason why he's being asked for a premium, even at his advanced stage that he's at right now. So, Katie, man, come back, man. Just come back, run it back. Last,
What I'll say to that, if you don't come back, Jeff, I'll send you a poster like I got right there of Kyle Lowry with Jimmy Butler. I got like for you and your Heats, man. I got you, bro.
and if you don't come back, hopefully you come to my soon-to-be new team, the Miami Heat. If he does not come back, he just comes and joins us.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I think that was really well said. Again, to our listeners, check out all the links in the description. Teddy Rico Designs, we're gonna drop the music in there. And yeah, this has been a fun one. This has been episode 36.